Be inspired, supported, and empowered. This is the Global Healthy Living Foundation podcast network.
On the journey of bettering our health and working towards a pain-free life, we sometimes have to face some uncomfortable treatment options that flare up our anxieties and fears.
Hello and welcome to Talking Head Pain, the podcast that confronts head pain head on. I'm Joe Ko, Director of Education and Digital Strategy at the Global Healthy Living Foundation and a migraine patient for over 20 years. Really excited today for this crossover episode of Talking Head Pain. I'm joined by my colleague and co-host of Wellness Evolution, Danielle. Danielle and I are going to talk about needle phobia, something that many of us experience. And unfortunately, living with a chronic disease, we're getting poked and prodded often. So if you've ever been nervous about your migraine treatment or even getting routine blood work, this is something that could help you. So Danielle, welcome to Talking Head Pain. I'm so glad that you can join us today.
Hi, Joe. I'm so glad that you invited me to join you. Needle phobia is something that I've faced, and I'm glad to bring light to it. This is exciting.
People don't know, I am horrified of needles. I have passed out from them, from routine blood work, from getting migraine treatments. And it's something that I've had to really think about how I can move past some of that fear to enable myself to get these treatments and to take control of my health. So I'm really excited that we're going to talk about that fear. And also you're going to provide some really good tactics through a breathing activity and exercise that can help people. I inadvertently did some of these things without formalizing it. And I think it'll be good to formalize it.
I think we all do informalized ways to handle our anxieties and our fears. And I think that sometimes just having someone formalize it and say, hey, this is a moment for you to focus on this and you're validated in it is so powerful. But with your fear of needles, what was the biggest obstacle that you faced, especially in your migraine treatment?
I would definitely say the anticipation of it and the thinking about it before it was happening. Even with getting the vaccine for COVID, I was super nervous. I scheduled it. And I kind of wish I didn't have to schedule it so out in advance, because if I just go spur of the moment, I have less time to worry. But before I got that, and before I get migraine treatments that have to do with injections, I tell myself, Joe, this is good for you. This vaccine is good for you. This migraine treatment is good for you. Joe, this is what your body needs. Your body needs this. This is good for your body. And I try to just get in the mind frame that while it is scary, it's something that I need and is good for me. So my body, embrace it, don't resist it. And I think that that has helped me going with the flow and not trying to resist. I've tensed up to the point when blood wouldn't come out when I was getting blood work, because they're like, you're too tense. Your blood isn't coming out. You have to relax. So relaxing, breathing, displacing my mind a little bit so I distract myself. I tell the person that is doing it, or if I'm doing it to myself, you have to distract yourself with music or by talking to me. So I learn all about a phlebotomist's life. I'm like, let me interview you. Where do you live? What do you like to do for fun? Things that are not related to the blood work help me get past it.
I definitely feel you on so many of those points. I think anxiety is the hardest thing to overcome because it's generally just this anticipation. Once you face the thing, you just do it in fear and then it's over. But the anticipation of it delays it so much. My fear of needles goes way, way back. I remember taking blood work and having people having to hold me down because I would just go into complete fight mode. I would kick and scream. One thing that wasn't great was hearing, oh, come on, just get it done, or stop being such a baby, or look, they have to do this needle on you. Those things were never helping the anxiety. So I love that you realize that, you know what? I need to tell myself why I'm doing this. I need to be my cheerleader. I need to say, this is the betterment of you. I got to be my own support for this. And that I think is so important, that people kind of look to other people so much for support. And sometimes people don't know how to support you unless you know how to support yourself. So the fact that you're able to, identify that and be like, okay, what am I going to tell myself? if no one else is going to tell me what I need to hear, I got to tell it to myself. And that's just absolutely brilliant. And I think that that's also something I remember you telling me that. And I was like, wow, I should really start doing that, because I would just close my eyes and breathe through it and cry, but be like, do not move, do not move. But yeah, I definitely feel that.
Yeah, we got to hype ourselves up. Like, let's go, let's do it. Also, some other practical tips that have been validated by doctors, which is really nice when you hear from like a cardiologist, like, oh, that makes sense. Staying adequately hydrated. And we hear that a lot, but it's like that helps. It helps with your vein. It also helps with your overall being. So like make sure you have enough water before you do anything that's stressful like that. To be honest, like you said, and understand that anxiety is real and you might not just get over it. It's a process. And to talk to your healthcare provider about that anxiety. I hear that sometimes people, if they say get prescribed an injection, I've heard anecdotally that when it's done in the doctor's office, they have good results. And then somehow the results trail off. And it's because some patients don't feel like they want to be honest that they're not giving themselves the injection at home because they feel shame or they're embarrassed or they don't want the doctor to think that they're not doing what they're told. So be honest. If you're having problems with your treatment, talk to your doctor, because there are ways that we can work through it. Like you and I are talking about today, that healthcare providers can help. So really glad we're having this discussion. It's so important.
I definitely agree. And I think, it's not a one size fits all. And I think people tend to go into doctor's offices and they could be like, okay, just try this. And then feel shame when it doesn't work. And it's like, oh, it didn't work for me. What's wrong with me? It's like, okay, let's talk about that. Why it didn't work? Let's try to find something more catered to you. And that can be really hard too when you're fighting with anxiety. Sometimes you just got to acknowledge what you're dealing with and give that thing, the anxiety monster, as I like to call it, room and space, and be like, you're here.
Danielle, can you walk us through a breathing activity that you think the migraine community and people that might be getting injections for their migraine could find helpful?
Sure. I put together something super simple just to get into the mindset of giving that anxiety space. On the journey of bettering our health and working towards a pain-free life, we sometimes have to face some uncomfortable treatment options that flare up our anxieties and fears, that cause real barriers to treatment. We've all heard the term mind over matter, which has felt very dismissive and doesn't help in overcoming the real fears and anxieties that some treatment plans bring to surface. We hope that this brief breathing practice can be a tool in helping you on your unique journey. If this breathing technique doesn't fit your current needs, explore other breathing techniques by searching the Wellness Evolution podcast. Let's begin. Find yourself in a physically comfortable position and say out loud to yourself, the treatment I'm about to receive is for the betterment of my health. The physical discomfort of this treatment is brief compared to the benefits that will come when this works. I have faced much scarier monsters, and I will face the ones today and overcome. Now let's take a moment to let our breath support us. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Again. Inhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale it all out. How are you feeling? What does your body need right now? You are the expert of yourself, and you know what you need to overcome and continue on your treatment journey. We hope this small moment provides some support and reminds you that you are not alone.
Danielle, thank you so much for your insight and energy today and for leading us through a very impactful breathing exercise that I know will help a lot of folks.
It was great to be here.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Talking Head Pain, the podcast that confronts head pain head on. If you like this episode, please give it an honest 5-star rating and subscribe so you never miss another one. I'm Joe Coe, and I will see you next time. This season of Talking Head Pain was made possible with support from Amgen, a sponsor of the Global Healthy Living Foundation.
Be inspired, supported, and empowered. This is the Global Healthy Living Foundation podcast network.